Hi, this is Aurora from superchargedmath.com. Now, if you're having a hard time with math, you're in the right place because this is where we take the challenging math concepts and we make them easy. So if you want to learn math the easy way, just visit superchargedmath.com. Okay, let's get started.
What is a system of linear equations? System is like, like a group of something. Okay? So I'm going to say this is a group of two or more linear equations. Linear means straight line. Like here's your x and y, and here's your line. And so it's just a straight line. That's the word linear. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. There are three ways to solve it. Three ways to solve it. Okay, so the first way is going to be with graphing. So I'm going to use graph paper because when we're doing this one, this particular method works best with graph paper because you need to be able to count the squares. So if you're just using the paper in your math journal, that's fine. Just make sure your increments are even. Okay. All right, so here we go. We have x and we have y. All right, so we have our y is always vertical. Our horizontal is always x. All right, I have two equations. So I'm going to slide this over. Two equations. I'm going to write them right here. X plus y equals 2. And the second one is 2x minus y equals 1. Okay, so first rule, and unfortunately I didn't learn this till I got to college. So how many unknowns do you see? Look in that one equation. You have an x and a y. Is that the same number as y? Not necessarily. They could be, but they represent different things. Soccer score on Monday, soccer score on Tuesday, right? Okay, so we don't know what those numbers are. They could be whole numbers, they could be fractions. In the past, we've only had one. Would you agree? We've only had x, or we've only just had y. Okay. If you have two unknowns, you must have two equations in order to find a solution. So however many unknowns you have, so if we had z in here, we would need 3. Does that make sense? So however many unknowns you have, count them up. Know that to get a perfect solution, meaning not perfect, what's the right word? So let's just look at the top one. Can you solve that equation for y? So look at the top equation. If I put x on the other side, can you see how this will become y equals minus x plus 2? I want to solve this for y. How do you want to do that? How do you want to do that? We have to say y equals something. So do you want to put x over here or y over here? Do you want to throw everything over and then multiply by -1? Do whatever you need to do and tell me what is the final result here. Get y by itself. Get y by itself. Okay. All right, so I'm going to plus y and I'm going to say -1. Okay, and then my equal sign is here. So I'm going to have y, because the 1's go away, equals, the y goes away, 2x minus 1. Did you get the same as me? You better. So make sure you do. Make sure you do. Okay, good. So as I'm writing things down, you're writing things down too. It's not enough just to watch me. You actually have to do this. This is the act of writing it is what's going to help make this really real for you. Okay? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just watch somebody and as soon as you're done, it's like permanently in your brain? Wouldn't that be lovely? Right. So this is how it's done. This is how it's done. You got to take notes as we're going. Okay, good. So it's these equations that I'm interested in because what does that look like? Does that look like y is equal to mx plus b? Oh, yes, it does. All right. So we have a red and we have a blue. Here's our graph. So we have y is equal to minus x plus 2. So plug in x equals 0. And what do we get? Y is equal to positive 2. So, oh, here, let me use the right color. For 0, actually, let me rewrite the equations. I will write y is equal to minus x plus 2. Just look at that one. Okay. So for x is equal to 0, 1, 2. All right. How about x is equal to 1? What number do I get for y if you put a 1 in here? Minus 1 plus 2. What does that give you? Yeah, 2 minus 1 is 1. So that was a value for, okay, so for x value and a y value. Okay, the y-intercept is 2. Okay, and then when I put in a 1 for x, I got a 1 for y. Okay, so 1 for x, 1 for y. Okay, and then I can do it again. If I put in a -1, what do I get? -1 turns this into a +1, so y is going to be 3. Okay? And Doug went over a lot of this in class last week. Okay? So I have 3, and that's enough for a line. If you want it, so that's the way to do it by picking points. If you want to do it the kind of the shortcut way, y equals mx plus b. So what you do is you take the b value and put it here. And then this says rise over run. So what you're going to do is you're going to fall 1 over 1, fall 1 over 1, fall 1 over 1, right? Because it's a minus. And we went over this in graphing in the previous unit. Good. All right, so we have enough to make a line now. Okay. All right, and there's our red line. Okay, great. Now we have another equation. I'm going to call that y is equal to 2x minus 1. This was equation number 2 on the other page. Okay, so let's do it the y equals mx plus b. Okay, so the y-intercept is -1. So for x is 0, y is -1, so it's right there. Okay, so stay there. 2x, so 2 is the slope, which is equal to rise over run. Okay, and that means you're going to hold on to this -1 here, and then you're going to say 2, you're going to go up 2, and then over 1. Oh, it happens to be the same one. And then go up 2 and over 1, and up 2 and over 1. Okay? Because 2 is the same as 2 over 1. Okay? So we're going up 2. So this is the slope. Okay? I know this is a little bit of a repeat from last week, but that's okay, or the past 2 weeks, but we want to make sure that this is really making sense. Okay? All right. And here is your second one. So what do these lines mean? Okay. So it means that for any x value, you can find the y somewhere along this red line. For any value of x, y will be somewhere along this line, one place. So if x is 0, y is there. If x is 100, y is like way up there, right? What I want to know is, for what values of x and y are x and y values the same? So both equations are the same. So meaning that there is one value of x and one value of y that will lie on both lines. That is the solution, which is right here, which is 1, 1. So for x equals 1, y equals 1. So wherever these two lines intersect, that is the solution to this system of linear equations. This is where you're going, oh, so if I only give you 1, you can tell me that if I give you a value of x, you could tell me what y is. But you couldn't tell me what x and y are because there's two unknowns and only one equation. To nail that second value down, you need a second equation. And so what we do is we graph both lines, and we want to know where's the spot where both of these cross. And that tells you for a value of x equals 1 and y equals 1. So I have a 1 equals -1 plus 2. And then you can see that this is true because if I take 2 and subtract 1, I get 1. So that's a true statement. So this is, the second one is 1 equals 2 times 1 minus 1. So 1 equals 2 minus 1, that's also a true statement. So there is one set of coordinates that will make both of these statements true.